Four, three, two, one. Welcome back to the channel, guys. It's
Indeed,
Guided Primal Sutra podcast. Today we're talking about grounding your roots in hell to bloom to heaven.
indeed.
Fantastic topic, and I think this was a topic that we've been delving into for many years, right?
Mm.
Uh,
It has a lot to do with true hell reaching heaven. The willingness to do the work that no one wants to do. It is
yeah.
paying your due diligence. It's that whole scene where, in order to enter the temple, you need to walk a lot of stairs. A lot of stuff, a lot of mundane bullshit. And I hope you have strong quads. Just like how
Quad strong
trees
enough for
with
samsara, right? Yeah.
Yeah, hey, make a post on that. That's great. That's a great. That's such a Sambo quote. Sambo is a new adept. He's I believe a bodybuilder, and I believe he does a lot of security work in Hollywood. That being said, ground your roots in hell to bloom to heaven. Why did we choose this topic, Uncle Makara?
Well, it came up because I was thinking of the fact that we do need to ground ourselves and root ourselves towards any kind of foundation in order to grow at all, right? So it only makes sense that you would ground in the hell that you have made for
Mm,
yourself, right?
true.
I love Carl Jung's, I don't know if you've ever looked into how he defines hell. He said like, man, maybe you can look this up, Brian, but it's something like hell is when you can no longer attain what you could attain. It's when you think and feel and do everything that you know you do not want. So it's
This
basically
is.
like
Mm-hmm.
it's basically describing hell as this place that you are responsible for, basically. So it's really profound. It's actually very profound. Um, this man definitely experienced something mystical.
So, according to ChatGPT, Carl Jung believed that hell is a suffering of the soul that refuses to grow. Bars. Jung taught that if you ignore your shadow self, the hidden, dark parts of your personality, you'll create your own personal hell. This hell
Mm,
manifests as guilt, anxiety, depression, and feeling lost in life. He also saw hell as a necessary part of transformation. Facing your inner demons is painful, but it leads to personal growth and self-discovery. So basically, hell isn't a place you go after death. It's what happens when you refuse to face your own darkness.
mm.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I guess when you reach divinity or God that unites heaven and hell, I think he said something along these lines where the opposites constitutes the kind of experience of the divine, which is
Correct.
the least
It's
we can
funny
understand,
you
call it
say
human.
that.
Yeah.
During a moment of zen during a very boring lecture today at work, the thought came up, why not divine by design? Divine by design, it just sounds nice, but what does it mean?
Does sound nice.
Very similar to to ground your roots in hell and to bloom to heaven. Because
Mm,
how else are you gonna grow? Strong plants tend to have very deep or broad roots, very
right.
similar to trees. You must be grounded. You must. It is your due diligence that must be paid.
Hmm.
Let's
Well,
make this
this is
interesting.
it's
Let's make this
interesting
interesting.
because it
What's
is
up?
episode 11 and we were going to talk about the spine as like this super highway from, highway to heaven and hell. So
Hmm.
we have a
It's true.
specific map that goes up to the oversoul and down to the undersoul, basically. So it's quite similar to this concept that we're talking about here.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's
Hmm.
weird to imagine there's just a stack of bones on our back, like it's a flesh scaffolding. But even in Hinduism and Buddhism, they call it Mount Meru. right? In Kabbalah, they say it's the tree of life. So every tradition has
Uh-huh.
their own version of that, like the Jed Pillar of Egypt,
Well,
the
what
divine lightning
because
rod.
I'm very involved with the Nordic pantheon, especially today,
Mm,
I'm being reminded of how Jormungandr is wrapped around the base of the tree Yggdrasil, and that tree connects to all of the available dimensions
right.
as it branches out, right? And if you compare that to the human body,
Mm.
the Kundalini does tend to start from the roots, shooting up.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
if it's toxic, the snake eats life force. But
yeah.
if its
Mm,
belly is
yeah.
already filled,
Mm,
the flowers can stop blooming. I
right.
haven't really researched what it means when Jormungandr kills Thor, aka Donar. I don't know what it means yet, but I can imagine
Mm,
to eat off a root of something that powerful
yeah.
has to be very transformative. Because if you look at Loki, and I don't know the energy of Loki that well more connected with Odin and Donor and Freya to some extent, but I can imagine
Mm,
Fenrir bites off the hand of Tyr. Lord Tyr becomes this god of war that forces peace, but he had to test his character. But by causing that, an apocalypse happened. But apocalypse is nothing more than a renewal, an era coming to an end so that a new era can start. Donar
mm,
had to die in order to be born anew. And
yeah.
Loki had to go to his own hell, in hell, with his daughter called Hel, being tortured for the crimes that he's committed against his own family.
Mm. I
And what
honestly
was his
think that
forgive? What's
they
up?
knew about this stuff long ago. I think like
Yeah, yeah, of
they
course I did.
totally talked about it everywhere. Like it's
Of
uh
course I did.
it's
Of
amazing to
course I
think
did.
that. Yeah.
But the thing is, and this is kind of what Primal Sutra does, how can we find more ancient technology and apply it? Of
Mm,
course, we managed to roughly sum it up in the title of this video, in this live, I mean. But in occult terms, what would this mean and how can,
right.
let's say, a newbie apply this, those who do not know of this or even any spiritual path?
Mm. If you notice the pattern, like every culture has a mystical system that knows that the spine is this cosmic ladder, Jacob's
Yeah,
ladder, and um, there's this I think this Sufi I don't know if you can look this up, Ryan. I'm getting this from maybe one of the
Sufism?
yeah. So the Sufis map their
Mm,
lata'if, their subtle organs along their backbone too. I think it's basically all of it is a metaphor for Kundalini awakening. However, I think it's really interesting to know that as we tap into this source, from the base of to the neck, this kind of wakes up this kind of dormant energy channel. And the ancients and the chi masters, they even knew that the spinal
mm,
stimulation enhances your consciousness.
mm.
What
Interesting.
did the Sufis say about spine?
I can't find it real quick. I'm
Hmm.
gonna chat GPT it, see what happens.
Is that why Salat has a lot of spinal movements? Quite possibly, yeah.
Ah, Sufis see the spine as the ladder to divine connection and spiritual awakening. They believe that as you purify yourself and raise your energy through love, devotion, and spiritual practice, you
Hmm.
climb the spine towards higher states of consciousness. Some key ideas. The heart is a gateway. Energy moves up the spine, but the heart is where transformation happens. The heart isn't the goal. The head isn't the goal. Unlike some traditions that focus on the mind,
Yeah.
Sufi emphasize the heart as the
They
throne
have
of
softened the
God,
heart. Yeah.
right, and seat of divine love. The lower back holds burdens. Emotional and spiritual struggles often sit in the lower spine. And releasing them through breathwork, whirling, or devotion can lead to inner freedom. In
Yeah,
short, your spine is like the spiritual highway. Clear it, and you'll move closer to the divine.
totally.
As per what I'm reading here.
Yeah, and even Hermes' staff, right? The caduceus is like
Yeah.
two snakes coiled around each other. Like that's the Ida and the Pingala, right? So
Ferocious, you're killing me, man. So, right. So,
a trick to get rid
uh,
of them. Yeah.
yeah, you
I
tricked
think
to get rid. I mean, if okay, one of these days, somehow I'm gonna gather some money, right? Make my ass all the way to Saudi Arabia, and we can have a dance off. How about that,
Oh, I
ferocious?
thought that sentence was going way different.
Why you gotta make it gay, man? uh,
Bruh.
the
Primal Sutra
Primal Sutra
Turk team.
Turk team. I bet you
Probably
are
cool.
game. Anyway, we're getting
Great
distracted.
guys, yeah. But I think like bringing it back to like the Sufis, I think the Sufis knew a way to energetically cleanse that wasn't like this kind of
Mm.
defense strategy. They were more tapping into this innocence or this softness
Mm.
that dissolved any demon, any negative energy. It just couldn't get to that. You know, it's like
Right.
they had this very powerful
Because, and this, we
understanding.
all know this, but most people don't. Most dark entities, I would say 99.9%, don't have that nurturing Venus energy. And the heart tends to be that center for that Venus energy. So it makes, from a protective standpoint and spiritual hygienic standpoint, a lot of sense for me to work a lot on my heart and the chakra. I don't have to look far to see what the consequences of holding a lot of rats, etc., in your heart, right? Because
Um,
the more you hold on to such destructive emotions, energies, etc., the more
Yeah,
other aspects of your
I mean,
organs,
I
etc.,
have
will
to
feel
catch
it.
myself like doing spinal twists throughout the day or like backbends or like a forward fold all of a sudden because otherwise my
A
energy
forward
isn't
roll.
gonna forward fold like you know like going down.
Ah,
Um, but yeah, man,
mm,
doing these random yoga asanas like just throughout the day, like just a Turk team, right? Cat cow Turk team. Um, in terms of just
mm,
getting into a random yogic gesture with your body
yes.
and allowing the emotion to do what it needs to do has been so impactful for me. Like that one
Mhm.
practice alone.
Mm, yeah. I'm a big fan of body rolls.
Mm,
Just really being conscious of the spine and how it moves because
yeah.
I have an office job, right? And I
Hmm.
sit a lot, so I'm very aware of what it does to me.
Well,
So
that's
I
why
also
also
do a lot of
the posture is
Pakistani style
important
squat.
for your field.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. Speaking of which, spinal, taking it all the way back to that LC trip we had with Brad, we should still invite him on at some point. God, he's tough to contact. But I remember that spinal fluid dripping from my atlas to my tailbone.
The
And it was
the
like,
Christ oil
yeah,
or whatever. Yeah.
yeah. And it felt, again, given the context, like it was like I was a tree finally coming alive.
Mm.
Logically, of course I'm alive, but it's like cutting the cords of what makes a bonsai tree, right? Because you need to
Yeah.
force a bonsai tree to grow in a certain way.
Right.
And it's almost like whatever entities, foreign bodies,
Destiny.
colonizational, colonizational energies or people that have placed any imprints and contracts on me have been cut off. Now, after this episode, I do want to have a talk with you and the adepts about removing even more of these contracts. Of
Yeah.
course, the consequences will be that I might have enemies that I would rather have not had, but if I need to choose between my freedom and then facing enemies or be willfully ignorant, knowing what's possible, then I know I would regret the latter. It would kill me. It would kill me to know I could have been free.
Yeah, man. I think the shamans really knew what this energy was. Like,
Hmm.
let's just say that a shaman is experiencing a parasite energy, right? Maybe his
Yeah.
skin is turning a different color. He has to now fight that internally. Almost like you remember that scene from Dune where they have to um,
Which
breathe
one?
through that with like that woman is dying, if you remember,
Ah,
but
yeah, 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 yeah,
like
yeah,
she
yeah.
has to control her breath back to
That being said, I think
prevent the poison.
the
Yeah.
woman who lived through it, I think she cheated. I think she
In what way?
cheated.
In what
Well,
way?
because I couldn't, because besides the plot armor, the fucking plot armor, that's one thing.
Yeah.
This, she already came with a power. She already came with power. She already came with gifts. It
Mm.
wouldn't be that far-fetched to say because she was already like a mutant of sorts, a superhuman, going through that challenge, although nearly fatal.
But yeah, that's what shamans do is they get you to purge, right?
Yes.
And the purge, I think, is important. Any kind of detox release is important because otherwise, it's almost like imagine a shamanic smokescreen, right? If you like change
Mm.
the place, all these evil entities are going, oh shit, like
Yeah. Yeah.
um, so to some level, it's all intent at the end of the day. So if some like random being from the ninth dimensional hell, you could say, in some weird context, is in my space right now. And I'm just
Mm.
ignoring it. I'm just like, yeah, whatever, dude, leave me alone, you know? And that energy isn't going to take over. But if I start getting scared, more terrified, putting more of my energy into it, do all these banishing rituals, get all my crystals
Mm.
out, I'm actually perpetuating the fear. They want me to be in that fear and they actually feed off of that fear. So if I can remain certain and ground myself in my own hell in that moment, I can actually
Mm.
start rising up step
You
by
would
step.
almost say, I mean, that's the reason I'm becoming more of a fan of cord cutting rituals.
Mm,
Because it's more, I will give you no more energy.
mm.
I will give you no more thoughts. This loop that I've came stuck in no
Yeah,
longer exists.
I should start
But of
doing some of
course,
those too,
yeah,
stacking
yeah,
some of those.
yeah.
You've been
It's
doing
a
quite a few.
very to the point ritual. I mean, the way I do it is two candles, string, two different color candles, by the way. I like to use silver and gold, um, and put them in like a part of earth. And depending on how the string burns and what happens to the earth, I can have a rough reading. And the recent one, the string burned as expected. I also cut myself by accident and gave blood to the string so that whatever blood ties that I even have to this person are eliminated. Like
A
I when I
random blood pact by accident.
well
Damn, bro.
an unpacked is what you mean.
Right, and unpacked.
Which is hilarious. Would you like to have an unpacking? Would you like to
Unpacking.
as my door opens randomly? What was that about?
I have no idea, bro.
Is it
We'll
a
check
new
on that
one?
later. Is it a
Okay,
new
whatever.
energy? Yeah, probably.
Okay,
Like
okay. I'm best be at my best behavior, I guess. Anyway, what was I
Ruby.
talking about again? Right, unpacking, blah blah. And then the soil itself in the pot caught flame, and I looked at it as like I know the soil is dry, but I've never seen that before.
Mm,
And I was like, whatever that is, whatever that is not very happy I did what I did
mm,
because it wanted to abuse either me or whatever aspect of my life and then use it for something potentially nefarious. And I stand against it.
mm.
And if it can happen to me, it can happen to each and every one of you listening to this podcast right now or later.
I mean,
Yeah.
some people go their entire lives with a like an entity attached, but not even knowing it. I feel really uh um, I mean, sympathy for those people,
Mm.
because they don't know.
I
They
do
don't
not
have the
know.
right people, they don't have the right contacts, connections. So find those intuitive people. Even if it's just in a small town somewhere, you're gonna find intuitive people.
Speaking of
And
intuitive people, as I sat down in the tram, a few stops later, a woman with a very specific getup sat next to me, and my intuition immediately told me this is a practicing witch. Like you can tell, like the rings, like that's uh, my
the
intuition
cotton's
says,
wheel jewelry.
yeah, 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 very. And I'm like, why are you sitting next to me out of all people? But because I was in such high vibes, especially with the song I'm listening to right now, I was like, who cares? Let's have
It's
a
a
good
great
time.
song.
It's such a smooth, high vibrational song. I love it.
Yeah.
And for some reason, instead of asking me for directions, she was asking some other people for directions. Almost as if she was trying to avoid me for some reason. And I was just so confused by it. What was that about?
I think you were just too positive for her at that
Really?
moment. Yeah.
Me?
Yeah.
Mr. Former
She
Emo,
was
too positive. Okay.
yeah. She was kind of, I guess, in her own energy. I can't really test her energy now. It's kind of
Yeah.
residue at this point,
Yeah.
but um I think when you told me and I tested it, yeah, she was some kind of a practicing
Mm.
I would say witchcraft enthusiast, not even a real
Mm.
formal witch.
How
Um
funny. How funny.
yeah.
Me as technically a formal witch tries to dress as casually as possible. As casually as I can. No one has to fucking know, man.
There could be people around the subway, like all sorts of mystics, and
yeah,
they're just
yeah,
dressed normal, they're just dressed
yeah.
like regular people, but they're
Just
doing energy work, you never know.
always,
You never
always,
know.
man, always. Now
Yeah.
bring it back to the topic. What would we need before I speak to the adepts? What would a newbie need to even start understanding what grounding is?
You need your 2 feet.
Well, that becomes kind of difficult because it's fucking cold in, let's say, Western
Oh,
Northern Europe. I'm
well,
not exactly.
I would recommend you get one of those fuzzy mats that have like the little pointed stuff on
Ah,
it,
yeah.
and you just kind of rub your feet on that. Or yeah, just like foot on a tennis ball or buy some acupressure reflexology slippers. There's many
Yes.
other ways to do it. I know not everybody's got soil and green grass, Some
Well,
people
the
live
next
near
best thing is I'll
concrete
let
and
you take one of the bigger potted plants and just dig my feet in. But that's gonna be fucking cold, man.
Mom, I'm grounded.
Mom,
Yeah,
mom, look, I'm a tree. Look, I'm Groot.
that'd be great. Yeah.
Give me some roses or something.
But I think the real benefit of grounding is like feeling a stability, a sense of your
Yes.
own connectedness with the earth.
Mhm. The reason I laughed was one of the people we're nurturing from dance lessons, right? Made a very interesting observation between you and myself.
Mm,
For you, according to her, you seem like a ball of color,
mm.
whereas I am just so fucking grounded. She doesn't know what I'm doing besides the things that I'm doing, right? She doesn't know I'm like over 100 plus
Right.
days on SR and just it couldn't be more full. Because it does kind of
Yeah.
weigh everything down a little bit. It makes me slower. Like
Mm,
slow down is what I meant to say.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm. But yeah, I think just keeping instead of keeping your attention on your head area, just keeping it
Mm.
down in your body is just a great way to ground.
In
Just
your mind is where
bring,
you get trapped.
yeah.
That's why a lot of IT guys, and I've seen it a lot, have this culture, and I've spoke about this many times, of walking. There's a very big walking, cycling culture within the Netherlands where
Yeah.
if you're stuck up here, you need to start moving the body. Start moving the body. Like every time I feel stuck, especially at the client, I just go to the stairs and just walk down 15 staircases, whatever it's called, and just get to like almost like a gallop, almost getting like
Yeah.
a completely different flow. And then I'm
Mm.
kind of sweaty. Maybe I'll buy a drink at the cafeteria and head on back up.
Do you also have this like re restless leg syndrome thing where you just kind of tap your foot?
Um, Sometimes, but I'm very aware of when I do it. And when it
Same.
happens to me
Same.
is usually when I'm either getting angsty or I'm just getting bored, man, and my mind is just
Well,
starting to
I think
race.
it's a subconscious way of grounding actually is what the person is trying to do,
Mm,
but it's just not working. So it's like it needs an outlet. So it's like start shaking, you know? Because shaking is
mm,
trauma release if you think about it.
mm-hmm.
And yeah, if you just make shaking a habit for yourself, I think that's a great place to start actually, even for an
Exactly.
adept, non-adept. Just shake every day.
So it could be belly dancing. It
Yeah,
could be
but
going on some shaking machine, which I have at home. I might do it today.
I mean, shake
Or,
your whole body like a wet dog in the rain.
hey,
Just like
what
shake
about a
your
machine that
arms,
makes you shake?
legs.
Because I have one of those at home.
Don't know about that, bro.
I will ask you that later. Because I have
Machines
noticed when I
making
come off of that machine, I feel like my body is still in like shaky mode after like 15 minutes of doing that.
is this
And
one of
it's
like those EMF like ab things where it
no, no,
shocks
no,
you?
no. But you just stand on
Oh,
it
okay.
and it just shakes
Oh,
you
okay.
like.
Oh, it's
So
like one of those
apparently,
plates.
yes,
Yeah,
something like
shake
that.
plates. Okay.
So I'm
Yeah,
not saying buy the shake plate. I am saying it is a very fun little cooling down thing. My
does sound kind
best
of cool
time
actually.
is
If
five
you balance
minutes.
on it, yeah.
No, you don't have to. It depends on what you want to do. You could just bend your knees and
Cowabunga,
just shake
man.
with it.
Yeah.
Not quite, but it's getting there. It's more from the feet
Right.
to TXL. So TXL
Wow.
changed his profile picture into an 80s band shaking thing where the band wraps around the lady's waist and just starts shaking her.
Oh.
Yeah. Now I don't know how we're gonna switch this bridges to the topic, but it was fun talking about it.
It
Every
was, man.
tree, you know, you have strong trees when it can survive strong winds, and a strong tree can only exist if it has strong roots.
Mm.
Fucking there's a ridge right there. So whether you need to shake up your life by going through whatever hell that you're into, or choose to suffer, the choice has always been yours.
Could you look up the Jed pillar, Ryan?
In what context?
Just in terms of the spine, like what does it have any connection at all, or is Haru just telling me something random?
Okay. Oh, that's how you write it. Jet is with a D. In the
Jed,
context of the
Jedi.
spine represents stability, spiritual awakening, and divine energy rising up the body. Basically, it's the Egyptian version of Kundalini or the Sufi spiritual ladder. So how it connects to
Um,
the spine. Jet
I see.
literally means spine. It is the
Mhm.
pillar itself that symbolizes the backbone of Osiris. Ah, okay. Okay, I
Mm.
see why. What? Okay, the god of resurrection and transformation, a strong upright jet, a strong spiritual alignment of the spine. Now, a radiant jet is awakening of energy, just like the Kundalini. This jet represents life force energy traveling up the spine, leading to higher consciousness.
The lightning rod, basically, yeah.
Exactly, Vajra. Ancient Egyptian rituals involved raising the jet, symbolizing overcoming lower instincts and reaching divine awareness. Now, there's four levels that are possibly chakras. Now, I've never seen ChatGPT put a question mark after a statement, so that's new. So there's four horizontal bars on the pillar that could represent energy centers or levels of initiation as energy moves up the spine. Very chakra-like. The head of
I mean, the
Osiris is often
formless,
depicted
it's like the
above the
formless taking
jet.
form is the way that I
Right.
kind of see it. Yeah.
Hey, isn't it a little bit weird for me to read what I'm reading because my crown is connected to Osiris?
Right.
So this is kind of freaking me out a little bit, and I'm understanding why I'm reading that current book about ancient Egyptian magic.
Right.
Fucking hell, man.
I know it's
And
very
every
trippy. And
girl that
the
has
other
flirted
day,
with me,
the other day that I learned
yeah,
that the Oscar is actually an Egyptian deity. This is an Egyptian deity.
uh-huh.
Maybe you can look it up, Brian. But it's a very interesting observation, and
So how do you spell it?
um, just Oscar, like Oscar's. Just type in what is the Egyptian deity associated with Oscars here. Let me see if I can find it.
500 might be Osiris. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's taught. Okay. I didn't expect that. Has to do with wisdom, writing, communication. He's also patron of arts.
Well, Os and Osiris could be also, but
Hmm,
yeah, I think it has a different name. It starts with a P or something, but um, yeah, you could look it up in your own time. We don't want
okay,
to give out esoteric wisdom too soon for the uninitiated. So
I
join our
understand.
mystery school, Primal Sutra Mystery School.com. Yeah.
So what I was on about was a lot of the girls that I've been flirting with have Egyptian symbology, and a lot of them have it right on their atlas. And it's a little bit spooky to me. Like they have the horse eye like on their atlas or on their solar plexus, and I'm just like, huh.
It's a
Because the more
protective
I
symbol,
attune,
yeah.
right.
It's a very protective symbol. I go to sleep with Horus Eye as well because I
Mm,
just don't want any uh, interference in my dreams. You know what I mean? Like
mm.
I like that protection from
Has
Haru.
any one of our depths been interfered with in the last few 7 days?
No,
Okay. Is it merely a chance thing or were they protected?
they're protected by our tulpas.
Mm, good.
Yep.
Is there anything? I don't know, it just came. It made me a little bit aggressive, so I decided to just ask. Okay. What is the level of groundedness needed for adepts to be able to level up a little bit, given the
Mm.
period that we're in?
Yeah, I definitely think it's definitely a good idea to eat more like root vegetables and
Yeah,
get in this,
absolutely.
try and get in the sun and get into your lower body at least a little
Mm-hmm.
bit. Because that's where, I mean, pelvic floor exercises also with the sacrum and that it's very underrated. Like men
Yep.
need to do that when they grow older.
Hmm. A
Very
lot of
natural,
Kegels, my man. Don't
right?
underestimate Kegels. It's tough, but trust me, you better prepare now. Pay your due diligence and stay strong in bed, because your time will come. And
Right.
you don't want to be that guy that just can't do
There's
it.
always rehearsal and the performance, so it's like you
Hey, when
gotta,
it's time to
yeah,
perform, it's
yeah.
party. Fucking
I don't know if it's a party, but
yeah.
yeah.
It can also be a slaughter, but that depends on the month. Sorry,
That sounds like a pajam joke. Yeah.
yeah, that might be, strawberry colors everywhere. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is you must take care of yourself in order to ground. And it sounds like in order to be rooted as well, you must feed yourself a lot of root products. And that
Mm.
includes a lot of things that are very potent for your gut biome, which has been brought up today as well. Like
Yeah.
consumer kefir and products that, strengthen your intestines.
Mm.
Especially with this year of, hmm, this year of Mars and fire, something to do with the organs, especially to help balance out whatever either overperforming energies or underperforming energies is what I recommend. I can't, of course, go too deep into it, both because I haven't exactly down what it is as I disappear, but it's been helping me in my combat. What are your thoughts on that, Sumit?
Well, one thing that's coming up for me is the microcosmic orbit. I don't know if you remember from Taoism, where you basically
Vaguely.
you breathe up the spine and then down the front of the spine. So it kind of, and when you mew or put your tongue on the roof of the palate,
Oh,
it
yeah.
keeps the circuit running basically. So that's a really, really good technique of feeling your energy really flow. You will notice it. It sometimes stops in an awkward area at times, the microcosmic orbit. Like sometimes I'll notice it like maybe in the back of my chest or like on my throat, like a lump, or
Right.
you will notice the stuckness, and then you can clear it up once you have a good understanding of energy work, and you can just keep the flow rolling, basically.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
It also reminds me of combining it with the violet flame
Mm.
and having it spin
Explain the
directly
violet
and making.
flame to the audience, Brian, because many
Officially,
people
it's
aren't
called
familiar.
Saint Germain's Violet Flame. He's a French
Right.
saint who is one of the forefathers of using, I would say, Christian occult technology
Yeah.
to
Science of
heal
metaphysics,
the
basically.
populace. Yes. And I'm a big fan of his Violet Flame because true, and yeah, some people may call me insane for doing this to myself. I use Violet Flame literally on myself to burn away gunk that's on me. Does it tire me out sometimes? Sure, but it that's clear the path between me and my spirit guides. And if something goes in the way, and a hotter flame is needed, I combine it with the energy of the Wiccan fire elemental king, Jin, to make it more intense. And should things be found, then most likely they will be eliminated. Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like a stacking of that energy that's really, really key and important. Like,
Right.
for instance, if Ryan can do this with two different beings like this, imagine the possibilities, man.
Oh,
Like
I can go crazy
merging
with this
pantheons, merging frequencies, merging timelines,
because I'm
merging
merging
past and
a
future.
technically Christian pantheon. Technically, if you look at it, if my information is correct, by the way, if I remember it correctly,
Yeah.
Christian with Wiccan, which isn't too far-fetched, but technically, Jin has a lot of Arabic connections, so
And
it
there's a
might even
lot of
be,
roots and overlaps. Yeah, that
yeah.
a lot of
What what will be a little bit harder, no, but not necessarily, is combining Serapis Flame Ascension Flame, which is a completely different thing. It just have
yeah.
the word flame in it. It is a flame. Um, the issue I have with it is you need to have a very powerful and stable highway, aka spine, to be
Yeah,
able to actually make use of this ascension flame. Am I correct in that speculation?
for sure. You also
Yeah.
need a good connection with the sun, I would say, because
Mm-hmm.
Serapis' energy is
Mm-hmm.
very drawn
And
to Ra.
it's
And
perfect time.
oh, by the
I've
way, if
been,
you
yeah.
if you ever see a bee buzzing around you or a wasp, just say Shalom, Shalom Wadu, and just
Why?
it will be on its way because the Wadu is the Wadjet eye, so it reminds it of Ra or Horus. It's a symbol of Ra. It's called Ra's tears, essentially. So when bees visit you, it's Ra just kind of sending, his troops to check in on you, as in a sense, as what I've been led to believe from Haru.
You've heard it here first, guys.
So yeah, Shalom Wadu towards the bees.
Mm. Does the Nexus have any interesting questions for us
Mm,
regarding the
yeah.
topic or anything we talked about? Maybe a
Yeah.
little bit of a challenge, maybe mentally, maybe emotionally.
Uh, could you look up this being, Ryan?
Wait.
SOPDET.
It's OP. Subdit?
Sopdet.
Subdet.
Unlimited potential, sacred mission initiation. So probably
Hmm.
something to do with
She looks
cosmic.
familiar, but I can't put my hand on it.
This is the energy coming through, so it might be that we're going through some kind of an initiation as Primal Sutra.
Likely. So this is Subdet. The star above her head is eerily similar to the keychain I have.
Ah, it's the name of the star Sirius. It's a personification of Sirius.
Uh, does that
Ah,
have anything to do with the energy just came into my room? Or
yes,
two separate things?
that's connected. It could be
Interesting.
connected, likely.
Mm.
During the early period of Egyptian civilization,
Yep. Let me read it out. Civilization, the wow.
Heliacal.
Heliacal rising of the bright star preceded the usual annual flooding of the Nile. It was therefore
That's
apparently
definitely
used
what you are,
for
bro.
the solar civil calendar, which largely superseded the
The Nile is
original
also
lunar.
the spine, which is also a snake, which is also the feminine waters of Nu, the
Right.
energy. It's all connected. Yeah. It's just
Right.
stop
Some
dead.
that continue to remain central to culture depictions of the year and to celebrations of Web Renpet, the Egyptian New Year. She was also venerated as the goddess of fertility, of course, brought to the soil by the flooding.
He's a consort of Osiris as well. So
Uh-huh.
so this is a very, very interesting. Guys, you see, this is what we do in our pathwork. Literally, we go on these code tangents and we just start Googling things, looking it up, and then we piece it all
Huh.
together into some mind-blasting theory in action, and just amplify the fuck out of it. Right,
Did this
right, dude.
energy come to help me answer something I've been wondering for a few months? And that's
Yes.
how to make use of this next level Azor that I'm experiencing. Because the last one, I felt extremely sexually numb.
Mm.
But now it's like I feel I haven't felt so clear in a long time. While in this stage, it feels purer.
I think the
Like,
word well, I think Hermes is saying lucid is the word. You feel lucid or clear.
hmm
Like you're living in the dream, like you're the one
yep,
behind the dream in a sense.
yep,
Yeah.
yep. It's not that I'm being necessarily guided or controlled by something else.
Right, you're not this puppet in a sense. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
That's a great point.
yeah. Because I'm
Amazing, man.
grounded, right? You know how
I-
hard it is to pull like potato under the ground is fucking deep, you know? Well,
Yeah.
you gotta get your hands in there. You might have to need a shovel, you know?
Yeah. Can't wait to go to Czechoslovakia and do some groundwork over there at at the farm.
Let me know when, so I can plan accordingly and see if I have time as well. Because the fog shouldn't be that far. Where do you think about heading? Oh, you know what? We'll
Oh.
discuss this after the call. We don't have to talk about this online. We have
Dead
20
Face
minutes.
Subliminal says, "Wow, this feels so vril." Absolutely, bro.
Let's see.
Vril has been demonized, I think. That's a very bad thing.
I mean, it
That
was used by by fucking Nazis. You know that doesn't help the case. But again, same with
Yeah, but the
the
actual occult
perversion.
symbolism with I believe the woman with really long hair, the Miria Os, forgot her name, but
I mean, the one
yeah,
with real long hair also relates back to Venus, right?
yeah, it does.
Yeah. It always comes back to life force in some way, shape, or form, because the beautification or the making young of oneself is also the, and I'm guessing, either the using or reusing of life force.
Hmm. Yeah.
Mm. Because as I'm taking more care of myself, like like my eyes are less stressed, I'm feeling better. I'm still
Hmm.
eating meat, don't get me wrong. I'm just very consciously selecting where I'm getting my meat from.
Right,
If that butchery has bad vibes, I'm not buying shit.
right. I know what you mean. I've been really making my choices of what I'm eating nowadays like a lot more intentionally instead of
Yeah.
just going with
Yeah.
the cheat meals for sure.
Speaking of
Amazing.
setting intentions, few things. Spiritual hygiene is going to be very important this year. For those of
Oh
you
yeah,
who are
totally.
watching and adepts, etc., cut people out of your life that do not serve a fucking purpose. Let's say you take a
I'll give you
subject like
so much
grappling.
more energy to put that into something that you're
Oh
actually
my god, you
passionate
have
about.
no fucking idea how free I feel. That I'm fucking done with
Yeah.
this all. I won't give you too much context for obvious fucking reasons, but imagine the subject of wrestling and grappling. If you remove the subject out of your life, what is the value of that person? And if it's not neutral or net positive, then it means it's a fucking negative, and that means it's time to cut this motherfucker out of your life. So whatever cord cutting rituals that you need to do, or you can get via us as well, after some negotiation, of course, get it done. Get the shit
Right
done,
on.
remove it from your life, and preferably stop talking about it because you're giving something energy that doesn't deserve it. A matter of fact,
Mm.
it's only wanting your downfall. So trust me when I say remove these things from your life. Two, Sedona, where you're like gonna be August. I have not worked on the website yet. I am a little bit busy, but I promise you I will get it done at some point. Early bird tickets will likely be around 2K, might be less or more. We'll see what happens. And I am thinking of reintroducing the online event.
Mhm.
So for those who don't have the time to come over or just want a recording or
Yeah.
you can still have access to the knowledge. We just need to figure out how to do that. I'm thinking about using school as a potential to have this a
Mm.
little bit more organized, you know? We
Yeah,
have been
yeah.
looking at that
That's
as
a
a
good idea.
possibility. And
Yeah.
anything else would be, as my final message to you is, you are probably worth more than you think you are. This is a message from Big Sister Kuberi, who is the wife of Kubera. I've been doing a lot of self-evaluation through her energy, and one thing that I knew is you could strip me away from everything, like my wealth, my skills, etc. The one thing that will remain is my character, and I have prided myself on building a character of high value,
Mm.
of high quality, and no
Absolutely.
one can take that away from me.
That serves
And
you
that
and the
makes
collective.
me,
Totally.
exactly, and that makes me valuable to myself. So, should the next idiot decide to fuck with me, I have something ready. That's all I have to say.
Okay. Awesome, man. Let's see if there's any other comments. Ellie says, I also have very long hair. Yes, you
Good
do.
for you, Ellie. I've been trying to
Absolutely.
get long hair. Doesn't fucking work. It grows into a fucking afro, and that's just a bitch to maintain. I don't know why. I might be more mixed than I
My hair
realize.
also grows kind of
Yeah, it
like
goes
this.
like this. It's
Yeah.
like
It's like,
because I
what the
wanted to
fuck is
fall
going on?
down,
Why not like,
and pretend
yeah.
I'm a very handsome Moroccan guy, but I'm not. And with the curly hair and shit, it just fucking doesn't work. And for some
Ellie,
reason, my front
Ellie calls
hair
us the
becomes
mop
like
heads. Yeah.
exactly like a fucking nice mop hat.
Yeah.
And then I can look like pretty when I'm coming out of the water. That being said, let's go for the outro. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been GPS Guided Primal Sutra. I wish you the very fucking best. May
Guru
life never be the
positioning
same again.
system.
Good morning, good
Yes.
evening, and good night. And
Peace,
should we
guys.
meet, don't be a stranger. And should someone fuck with you, tell him or them. Ryan said, fuck you, suck my dick. Peace out.
Mm. How did we get here? It took us an entire lifetime, actually.
Oh, yeah.